Hello, hello. Welcome to the Super Metroid multi-category tournament. Today we have our players Beeps versus Diddy Kong. And this is Galamaz. And with me is TG Derp. Derp, how you doing?
Pretty good.
Good.
I woke up later than I would have liked, but I am awake now, so do not fear.
So,
Ready to bring the infectious energy to our lovely race.
so this week we have 3 categories to choose from, which is reverse boss order, or called RBO. We have any percents, and the last one is triple bingo. And so Beeps has vetoed any percent, and Diddy Kong has vetoed triple bingo. So we'll be having an RBO run on our hands. So it should be very interesting.
Yeah, Beeps is slightly favored in RBO, having about a hour and a half PB time, while Diddy Kong has a closer to a 2-hour PB time in RBO. But this is RBO, so there can be very big time losses depending on how well the runners can execute the more difficult sections, but we will see how the race goes shortly. Seems both the runners are ready. We're just waiting for the SpeedGaming staff to finish setting everything up, and we will be on our way. Never mind, the runners aren't ready anymore, so it might take a little bit longer.
So I did some RBO runs in preparation for this tournament, and my PB for RBO is over 2 hours. So I could say that my RBO is not confident at all.
Well, I must say, I personally have yet to do an RBO run, but I have seen enough that I am confident I can at least explain everything that's going on. So that will be starting very shortly.
Yeah, RBO is definitely as hard as it looks.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of safeties you can get, and I imagine we'll be seeing a lot of those safeties in this race, but it's still not comfortable no matter how many safeties you pick up.
Yeah, there's like a little bit of that randomness factor in the Ridley fight, and I think it's maybe a single tail swipe or hit from Ridley will really do you in. So it's a very risky run down there in Lower North Air.
Looks like Beeps is starting his timer with a 7-millisecond disadvantage. Just spotting the other runner a lead. You know, it's all you can do being the slight favorite.
And the countdown has begun. We'll see our runners go shortly. So I've always imagined that RBO is a very stressful category. You're going to have to go through Norfair and Lower Norfair without Varia Suit or Gravity Suit. which protects Samus from heat damage. So while the runners are down in the Norfair areas, they're going to be taking constant damage. And so I always imagine it's extremely stressful. The clock is ticking, and if you don't make it out in time, if you make some mistakes, it's game over.
Yeah, that is part of what makes RBO so unforgiving. In most other categories, making a mistake just means a time loss at worst, but in RBO, a mistake in Lower Norfair usually just means death. So you have to be very good with your movement in Lower Norfair in order to get out alive. Luckily, there are safeties and safety saves the runners can take, and most likely will take in a race setting, so they will at least finish. I do want to give a slight shout out to Beeps as well with the Blat timer, one of the few runners still using it. As one of the other Blat timer loyalists, I have to respect the others.
So real quickly, I want to explain what RBO is. So RBO is reverse boss order. So the quote-unquote intended way to play the game is to go fight Kraid first, Phantoon, Dragon, then Ridley. However, for RBO, we're going to do the opposite, and we're going to fight Ridley, Dragon, Phantoon, and then Kraid to complete the game. And yeah, fighting Kraid and Phantoon unlocks, the heat protection suits. So the runners will not have any of that going down to Norfair and Lower Norfair.
Yes, we are doing RBO. Hopefully we can get that added to the layout shortly.
But yeah, what we expect to see from these runners is lots of energy tank collection. The amount of health you have is essentially your clock for surviving in the heated rooms. And then there's also an ammo requirement for performing Crystal Flash, which treats ammo for health. So you can heal being in the heated rooms, provide your under 50 energy, and have no reserves.
Yeah, so how the runners will be doing all that is they will be going to Upper Norfair early to pick up a few items and weapons, such as the Speed Booster, High Jump, and Wave Beam. Similar how you would see it in any percent, but instead they will be doing it with Novaria suit, which actually creates a fairly risky situation. They have to do all of that on a timer, like you said. Then they will be leaving Norfair to pick up some extra items and tanks from Rinstar and potentially Meridia if they so desire, and then heading down to Lower Norfair with all of the items they've collected. But first, they need to collect said items. I do wonder, I think Beeps before has done the Retro Brinstar E-Tank early, so what he might do is kill all of the pirates in this room to wake up Zebes and unlock the door behind him, and then go back for the E-Tank. It doesn't look like he's actually going to do it, but I know he has in the past. And Diddy Kong is doing what I talked about. You need to enter this room in order to officially wake up Zebes. If you go up the elevator and go back down, the enemies in Blue Brinstar won't actually spawn yet. So by going through that room and then killing all the pirates in order to unlock the door behind you, the Retro Brinstar will wake up and all of the enemies will spawn, which allows Diddy to do the Retro E-Tank similar to how you would see it done in Randomizer, where he uses the enemy to boost up to the E-Tank. Unfortunately, misses it first try, and accidentally KO's second try. I might need to go reset the room because the Rio isn't in a good spot anymore, which he is going to do. Meanwhile, Beeps skipping that E-Tank for now. He might pick it up later, but picking it up early allows you to do the early Upper Norfair Hell runs safer. Diddy's having a lot of trouble with this, and his health is not looking too great. He's also killing these Zoomers, or Gamers, I forget which one. Those can actually provide a second way for you to deboost to the E-Tank, but he does get it third try. And of course the E-Tank will refill his health, so he doesn't need to worry about how low he got doing that trick. And so he is on to Bomb Torizo.
I really do like getting that energy tank early, because I don't know, this first part of the early hell runs is always a nerve-wracking experience for me. So I feel like getting that extra E-Tank is, you know, a nice bit of buffer.
Yeah, absolutely. The early hell runs, while they aren't too difficult, are fairly challenging, especially the wave hell run, which is very tight, and landing in the spikes below can mean basically instant death. So having that extra 100 energy gives you a safety net there. We will also see both runners picking up the Brinstar Reserve tank after they get early supers, most likely. We'll see if they pick up any other reserve tanks. Some runners opt for the Norfair Reserve as well, but it is not required.
It looks like we have Diddy Kong starting his Bomb Torizo fight. Doing the fight with full health, which is very important. So all the farm that Diddy Kong is going to do is going to spawn either nothing or missiles. So eliminating the chance of getting health drops is very important. Yeah, take a few hits there.
Yeah,
finishing it off with the power beam.
Like he didn't get enough missiles from the drops to finish off Bomb Torizo, so had to finish it off with some P shots. But not a terrible fight.
You know, one of the interesting things about the RBO run is the amount of variations there are. Like I've seen the Moonfall, or no, the Moon Dance, and there's like the Task Tank and you know, double Meridia and single Norfair visits.
Yeah, Zenny definitely started going for a lot more advanced strats in RBO. You already talked about the Moon Dance and Task Tank, but also things like going for a Spike Suit in the last Lower Norfair Hell run on his way out, just for Meridia to go faster. Yeah, in a lot of ways made the run an actual speed run instead of just a survival. But we will not be seeing such an optimized run before us because that is very difficult and not race friendly.
Yeah, most likely you'll see 2 Norfair visits, which is about the standard. So 1 Norfair visit to collect Speed Booster and Wave Beam, and then another visit to go down to Lower Norfair after all the energy tanks have been collected and other necessary ammunition.
Yeah, before Zenny began grinding the Moon Dance RBO routes, the world record route did use a single Norfair route and just did a second loop around Brinstar right away, which did lock the runners out of the waterway E-Tank since that requires speed booster. So it is slightly less safe, and we see neither of our runner going for that, which I would say is a good decision, since it is that 100 energy that you aren't able to get is very crucial. Beeps here just filling up all his resources on this little hidden farming spot in the ceiling. That is, of course, the way out of Meridia traditionally, but he can't actually go into Meridia that way because of the green gate. Unfortunately, if the button for the gate is on the right, it is impossible to gate glitch, or at least impossible to gate glitch traditionally. There are some glitches you can use to do it. Regardless, he only needs to go up there for the little farming spot, and it is not used to get into Meridia.
Yeah, definitely getting ready for that first hell run of the category. So you want to be fully stocked on your reserves.
Unfortunately, Beeps didn't hit the Sova on his way into the room, so he had to wait for it on the way out, which is why you saw him trying to shoot it from below there, just because he needs it to unlock the door. Looks like he's going to do a save before the hell run. It's very intelligent, I would say. This is the first dangerous part of the run coming up for Beeps, and we'll see how he executes it. Nice first room so far. He can't take any damage from the enemies, or at least he wants to take as little as possible. I believe these Garudas do 80 without a suit. I know the Duskigas in the earlier room do 80 with no suit, which is an amount of damage you can't afford to take, so he needed to avoid those, which he did. And it looks like he... oh no, just missed that jump there from the small platform to the other small platform, and unfortunately took a death, but luckily he saved just a minute ago, so not too bad a time loss.
Yeah, that seahorse just like shooting that fireball and pushing Beeps down back into the lava.
Yeah, he missed the jump, which was already kind of sketchy, and then he got shot back when he tried to recover, so it was doomed. But he does get another try. He gets as many tries as he wants, technically, with that save. There is no cap on live. I think his health is a little bit worse entering this last room this time, but it should still be enough. Makes that jump he missed last time, and...
oh! Zero, entering the door with 0 health.
It is technically possible to survive from that situation, but it would require several frame-perfect pauses in order to pick up a health drop from one of the enemies, and that is something that was very unlikely, so Beeps is once again just going to take the reset. And so here you see Diddy, with that extra E-Tank he picked up earlier, take the lead. He's going to have a much easier time through this first hell run, and he, with the deaths that Beeps took, Diddy, the time loss it took for him to take that first E-Tank is all but gone, and now he's just going through the rooms himself.
Yeah, the upcoming hell runs will be also easier since he has that extra 100 energy.
He doesn't even need to use the reserve either. He gets through without popping his reserves, which is actually very important. Since normally you want to pop that reserve during the hell run out of wave. You want to pop it in the wave beam room, since that room isn't technically heated. And then use that to get back across, back into Bubble Mountain, which is also not heated. So not having to pop that reserve now means that as long as he can get to the farm spot before he pops his reserve, then he won't need to use it. Unfortunately, he does take a hit and fails the jump, so he's going to pop it now, which isn't too bad. He made it up to the farming spot, but unfortunately he will need to refill his reserves, either now or on his way back. And it looks like Beeps has also made his way through the first hell run, but unfortunately is very low on health, and looks like he reset the room a couple times to farm enough to make his way to this farming spot that Diddy is at.
Beep's taking that extra safety save.
I didn't see how much health Beeps had when he made it through the hell runs, but judging by chat's reaction, it was not comfortable. Just gonna get this last drop, brings his health to above a tank, and that should be enough to make it. And he has made it to the farming spot. We're gonna have a bit of an extended high five here, as both runners are gonna be farming the bugs for health.
I really like how both runners are on like both sides of the farming spot from the same farm.
Yeah, it's they're having a nice talk over a cup of tea, talking about how their run's going. But Diddy, he's got places to be. He's not going to stay too long. One other thing to note is that Diddy hasn't picked up Spazer yet. Well, Beeps did on his way to Norfair. So that is something that Diddy will have to pick up at some point, I imagine. It's technically not required if he's going the 30 super route, but it is a very nice item to have, and I would be surprised if he doesn't pick it up at some point. And Beep's unfortunately going to pop his reserves again on the way out of speed, which isn't too bad because he's right next to the farming spot, but he will need to refill it a second time. You see Diddy doing that wave hell run I talked about, refilling his reserve in the wave room, which isn't heated, and now he's going to attempt to make it back out. Gonna take a safer way through the spikes. That spike pit has two crumble block sections at the very left and at the middle. He's gonna go down through the middle of the spikes in order to be safe, and he is done with his first hell runs. We'll see if he wants to do Croc now or Croc later. Traditionally, the double Norfair route will do Croc on the second Norfair entry before going down to lower Norfair, but it is also possible to do it now and make getting certain items, such as potentially an X-ray scope, easier. And it looks like Diddy is going down and refilling, so that tells me he is most likely going to go to Croc. Just refills enough to get to the refill before Croc. Of course, you do want to take that refill because he will be picking up the Croc E-Tank, which requires a couple jumps through the acid.
Beep's taking that spike damage, missing that wall jump. And so he's forced to do a reset because health is very limited since he opted not to go for that extra E-Tank.
And Diddy has made it to Crocomire. Like I said, what this tells me, the fact that he's doing Crocomire early, means that he's most likely going to be picking up the grappling hook early and using that to get X-ray, which is a much easier way to get out of Dragon. Traditionally, the fastest way out of Dragon is to get a flash suit from Dragon. When Dragon picks you up while you're in a crystal flash, it gives you a flash suit, which he can then turn into a blue suit by sparking as Dragon picks him up a second time, and then using the grapple hook to grapple jump out of Dragon's room and using the flash suit to spark out of the Precious room. With X-Ray, you don't need this flash suit, which is a bit tricky to get. You can just grapple jump out of Dragon's room and then X-Ray climb out of the Precious room. And for some that don't run RBOs, some of that might seem confusing. I promise we'll explain that once the runners are doing it. For now, we are just focused on the early Norfair. Beep's having some comments in SRL saying that he is playing like trash. Unfortunately, he has taken a few deaths on these early hell runs, so his frustration is definitely justified. But hopefully he can get through this without too much more trouble. Luckily, he did save after the speed booster hell run, so he only needs to do this wave hell run now.
Yeah, it looks like Beeps has fell down a couple times from the double chamber room and died once to the spikes, so it's a pretty rough room, really. Here we go, make it to the wave beam room. It's just not heated.
And Diddy's going to be picking up that grappling beam. Sorry, it's not a grappling hook, it's a grappling beam. My apologies.
Isn't grappling hook that Zelda item?
Something like that. I'm pretty sure there was a Zelda game that just had a grappling hook and not a hook shot, like Phantom Hourglass or something like that.
Oh,
I know Phantom Hourglass did. I don't know if Spirit Tracks did too. I never played that as a kid.
Beep's taking that unfortunate death near the end of that hell run segment. You know, I think I did play a little bit of Phantom Hourglass, but I don't remember anything about it. Except that multiplayer minigame that it had. Beeps in chat saying, I don't know what I'm doing. RBO is definitely a very unforgiving category. Any minor mistakes can result in death.
That was an interesting little thing by Beeps. I don't know if his stream lagged or not, but it looked like it went through the item fanfare on the last frame before pausing, where the screen was completely black, and then paused after that was done. Maybe he just lagged, though, I'm not sure. He's having a lot of trouble with this last hell run, though. Hopefully he can get it soon. Diddy looks like he's going to be picking up the ice beam now, after making his way out of the Crocomire area. Looks like he's also going to pause right before picking up the item, so he's going to have a darker screen. Neat little thing there. I'm kind of interested why he turned off the ice beam. I'm trying to think where he would want the ice beam turned off, but regardless, that is what he did.
It almost looks like he turned it off to get that extra farm in right after leaving Ice Beam.
Maybe.
But maybe you could be turning it on at a later point.
I guess he might be potentially doing X Factors on Ridley, but that seems odd. I think he might have done it without thinking, but we'll see. We'll see when he turns it back on. And Beeps looks like he's in a good position to leave the wave hell run this time, and exiting the double chamber with 142 HP. Just needs to dodge all these enemies. Oh no. I guess that's a caster curse.
Yeah, clearing out all the enemies, but that was it. The Viola. It's
Yeah,
a
the
very
last
tricky
Viola.
enemy.
It's a small enemy, and it just found its way onto Beeps' hitbox before it could be shot.
Come on, Beeps, you can do it.
So I'll give Beeps our energy. He needs it now. This is a tough part of the game. Looks like Diddy is entering Brinstar from the opposite direction. Looks like what he's doing is he's going to... Oh, never mind. I don't know what he's doing. What I thought he was going to do was enter Retro Brinstar and pick up the power bomb and then go up the elevator to pick up the Criteria super missile, but now I'm not sure exactly what route he's taking. Not sure why he opened that door. Maybe he's doing that after he clears out all of Brinstar. Looks like that's it. He's going to go down and pick up his Etakun items. There is an E-Tank, a super missile, and a power bomb down here, and I imagine he's going to be picking up all three. And meanwhile, Beeps has made it through the wave hell run, so he is finally on to the rest of the game. We'll see if he decides to do Croc early or Croc late. And it looks like he is doing Croc early as well.
Yeah, I imagine Beast would be very relieved to get past that wave beam segment.
Absolutely.
Yeah, one of the things about RBO is that, sometimes dying over and over again can be very discouraging. So, props to the Beeps for sticking it out. RBO is not a friendly category.
I think it was Ponk who told me that you have to be in a very specific mindset to play RBO. You have to accept that you are going to die, and it's just going to happen. And I think the runners are feeling that now.
Yeah, I definitely don't have that mindset.
It looks like Diddy accidentally did an X Factor. Or maybe it wasn't an accident, he was just showing off. Who knows? Either way, Beeps is done with Crocomire and has picked up his Croc E-Tank.
Lots of Kojaks by Diddy. Trying to open up that block in the floor. Shout out to Kojak.
Shout outs to Kojak. Ooh, Beep's gonna spark just a pixel too low towards the Crocomire power bombs. Unfortunately, he's just gonna have to make the jump. Luckily, the jump is super free. And he also Kojak's a super, but it's alright.
So even though our runners are in two different spots, I still feel like the race can go either way, because you get the lower North Air segment coming up, and it can be very unforgiving. So we'll have to see how these runners decide to play the lower North Air area.
Yeah, we still haven't gotten to the biggest difficult section of the run, which is all of Lower Norfair, basically. So that is going to be whoever exits Lower Norfair is most likely going to be the person who wins. Although there is still a pretty tricky section in Meridia after that. With X-Ray, they should both be able to get out on their first try. Now Diddy going down to the E-Tank I was talking about earlier a bit, the Waterway E-Tank. Like I said, you can't actually pick this up without Speed Booster, and so being able to pick it up is one of the main benefits of the double Norfair route. That 100 energy is very nice. We'll see how many other E-Tanks Diddy picks up. There are, I believe, 3 more he can pick up. He can pick up the Gauntlet E-Tank, and he can pick up the 2 in Meridia without technically going to Dragon. And so we will see. I imagine he picks up Gauntlet and the Mama Turtle E-Tank, but doesn't pick up Botwoon. But we will see what he decides to do. Looks like Beeps is also picking up the Ice Beam now. I didn't really talk about it while Diddy was doing it, but it is a much easier hell run than the others that we've seen so far.
No, I think I'm a fan of the double Meridia's trip to get that extra bit of ammo. I think, especially in a race setting, having an easier Ridley fight is much preferred, but
yeah, absolutely. Having that, or being able to go to Meridia a second time, gives you the 30 supers that you would need for a clean Ridley kill. He does take 30 supers in total to defeat. And so without that, you need to use some other weapons, such as charge shots, which can be very slow and very dangerous. And that is why we've seen most of our runners running RBO in the tournament taking the double Meridia route just for that extra safety. Additionally, if you pick up 2 super missile packs in Meridia, both the Crab Supers and the Beach Supers, you can skip Gold Chorizo altogether, just pick up Screw Attack and leave, which is very nice since Gold Chorizo is a bit finicky. There's a safe spot near Gold Chorizo's foot, but if you aren't on the safe spot, you can take a hit from Gold Chorizo, which basically spells death, depending on your energy. I'm interested to see what route Beeps does, because I'm not totally sure how the route Diddy is doing, how fast it is compared to how fast it could be. So we'll see if Beeps does the same thing. I assume the runners know more about this route than I do, so if they're both doing the same thing, then I guess it is just the fastest way through. Looks like they are not. Beeps is opening the door and going through it. This is what I expected, although Beeps...
Oh, be careful. Okay.
From here. He's okay.
Yeah, that was very close, I don't know when's the last time Beeps saved.
I think part of the reason Beeps is doing this now is because he can pick up the Retro Brinstar E-Tank, while Diddy couldn't since he had already picked it up. So Beeps gets that health refill, which gives him enough health to spark up to the Criteria Super Missile. While Diddy would not have had that much health and would have had to take some farming. Regardless, he is going to be picking up that E-Tank now. He may have wished that he had it earlier, but It's all right.
I think earlier Diddy opened up that powerbomb door leading up to Retro Brinstar, but then decided to not go through it. I think he was remembering that he already collected the Retro Brinstar E-Tank.
It does mean that this Gauntlet E-Tank will probably be the last item he picks up, not counting Spazer and X-Ray and Brinstar. The last E-Tank he will pick up before heading down to Lower Norfair. Depending, I guess he could pick up Mama Turtle as well. I didn't think about that. But the point I'm trying to make here is his item cleanup is all but done now. There's just a few more left. Not counting the first Meridia trip, which I imagine he will choose to do. It looks like he's gonna refill at the ship and then go down to Meridia through Red Tower over here to the right. I think Beeps is actually going to catch up a bit, just having a cleaner route through picking up all of the Brinstar items.
So, do you think Diddy will go to Meridia to collect extra ammunition? Extra super missiles?
I think both runners will. I imagine both runners will at least pick up Crab Supers and Mama Turtle E-Tank, and I imagine they'll both pick up Beach Supers as well. But we will see. Looks like Beeps is headed over to Gauntlet. I think Diddy got the Gauntlet wraparound shot, but doesn't look like Beeps did, so he will have to powerbomb his way through the room. Needs to be a bit careful on health. He lost a lot of health getting the Criteria powerbomb, but he should be okay. Diddy has a lot of power bombs, I just noticed. He picked up the alpha and beta power bombs, so that brings his total up to 35. Which is a little bit excessive, maybe, but it's all in the name of safety. He wants to make sure he can Crystal Flash at any given moment. And the excessive power bomb count is just part of that.
But he's taking it very safe, with that extra E-Tank at the beginning of his run. So, and he's just in the lead so far. So if he makes it through Lower Norfair in one go without dying, that could be huge.
So one thing to note is that Diddy didn't actually go over to pick up X-Ray, so he won't have that extra safety, or he won't have the extra option to get out of Dragon with the X-Ray climbing. He's also not picking up Spazer, which is interesting. I believe each of the enemies in Meridia will take one extra shot to freeze without Spazer. As Diddy lines himself up to get this Meridia entry. I don't know if he jumped. Okay, he did. And he is in. So what you want to do is you want to freeze this fish. Normally, it takes...
Oh, killing the fish.
Alright, normally with Spazer, it takes 3 shots to freeze. It looks like without Spazer, it actually takes 5, but Diddy accidentally shot 6. So now he is going to have to do a much slower entry. And it looks like what he's going to do is super the crab off of the wall and then freeze the crab in midair to jump off of it. This is the more traditional entrance into Meridia. It's a, I believe it was known about for a long time before any serious RBO runs were ever done. And by that, people knew about it. I mean, I knew about it before I was part of the community, so therefore everyone knew about it clearly. Beep's getting all those Edacoon's items. He's got a couple more E-tanks and some power bombs that are accessible to him, as well as the Spore Spawn Supers, which we fully expect him to pick up. Looks like Beeps is going to be picking up the Mission Impossible power bombs, which will bring his total up to 20, I think. Actually, I think it's 25, right? Because he's picked up all 3 in Brinstar now. Not counting Alpha and Beta power bombs. And then Criteria power bomb and Crocomire, so that's 25. Did he pick up Criteria power bomb? I don't actually remember.
I think Beefs did.
Okay, so that would mean 25.
At least I remember him doing the Shine Spark. Like right after Criteria Power Bombs. So, might be safe to assume that he did.
Meanwhile, Diddy is heading up to the beach area to pick up the beach supers. Not sure who decided to call it a beach since it is completely underground. But, you know, I don't make up names. I just repeat them. Nice little spark to get up there, just making sure he doesn't get trolled by the bugs. So he's picked up that. I imagine he's going to go down and pick up Crab Supers as well as potentially the Mama Turtle E-Tank. I believe if you're already doing a trip into Meridia, it is actually faster to pick up the Beach Supers than it is to fight GT. But I don't have confirmation of that. But it is definitely safer, as you don't need to fight an extra mini-boss.
You know, I think it does make sense. You know, what you were saying earlier about, you know, if he was already in Meridia, it's like faster to collect the super missiles. So I think fighting GT is, you know, it negates a lot of that extra bit of risk. And saving that time for fighting a boss fight.
Yeah, traditionally in optimized RBO runs, the BT fight is also used as a bit of a farming spot to farm up some super missiles lost when crystal flashing in your Lower North Fair entrance. So with that out of the way, the runners must instead farm power bombs elsewhere, and or farm super missiles elsewhere, which luckily there is another good spot right outside of GT. In the Green Gate glitch room, all of the Rippers there will drop super missiles, I believe 100 out of 102 times, so however, whatever percent that is. And so they're a very good source of power bomb or super missile farming at the expense of either power bombs or using the screw attack, which is a little bit trickier. And it looks like Diddy is making his way down to the Mama Turtle E-Tank after picking up the Crab Supers. So that's going to bring his total E-Tanks going into Lower Norfair up to 9 plus 1 reserve. Beeps unfortunately missing the fast Meridia entry, but is almost a full early Meridia trip behind. Luckily, he has a bit of an easier time with Spazer Beam freezing the enemies. And he's going to attempt a trickier way to get up Meridia by freezing the fish in a tactical position right next to the wall. He is able to wall jump between the wall and the fish, which gives a little bit of height, and because he doesn't have time for his little bit of height to decelerate, he is able to continuously gain height and make his way up to the rest of the room. It is a little bit faster, but also a bit trickier. But Beeps he executes it very well. Needs to be a bit careful though. Had the grapple beam equipped, which kind of scared me. He would have one-shot the crab, which would have required him to just reset the room. Luckily, this fish that Beeps is trying to jump on will slowly move down the longer he tries the trick, so it only becomes easier. And he does get it eventually, as Diddy is leaving Meridia, presumably to go to the hardest section of the game, Lower Norfair. So you will be seeing that shortly. Ooh, Beep's just missing that last grapple block going up to the beach supers. Luckily, he's going to do that grapple jump back up. So how that works, I don't actually know how it works, I just know how to do it. Once you let go of a grapple with upward momentum, you can actually unmorph and remorph and do another jump in midair, and that can be repeated infinitely. Like I said, I'm not sure exactly why it works, but it does. So the runners will be using that in a few spots deeper into Meridia, but you see Beeps do it there just to get back up to the grapple block that he wanted to be on. I assume
like Diddy Kong is going to make his way to Lower Norfair, it seems.
Yep, I assume he took the save before Frog Speedway. But this is the best way to Lower Norfair, since you get that nice refill there, just to top off your health for the lava dive. Because in order to enter Lower Norfair, you need to go through this pit of lava, known as a couple different rooms, either Lava Dive Room or the Gravitron Room. And so what that means is you need to go through this room very quickly. Your health drains while you're in heated rooms, and it drains even faster while you're in lava with no suits, so you lose health very rapidly through this. And Diddy's not getting a good entry. He's just going to do the traditional roll entry. I don't know if he has enough health, though. I think he's okay, though. So what you want to do is you want to wall jump off of the face of the Namahe up to this higher ledge, and then from that higher ledge up to the door. But unfortunately, he missed that second wall jump. So we'll see where he last saved. I assume he saved at the Frog Speedway save right before this, and it looks like that's the case.
And Beeps looks like he has collected the watering hole supers and going to go down to the crab supers.
Yep, that should bring his total up to 30. I assume he has 30 unless he forgot one. And so he will most likely be picking up that Mama Turtle E-Tank as well, but then he will also be headed down to Lower Norfair. And it looks like he's actually... Oh no, he's just doing a fancy entry. So he's going to freeze that fish right away and use that to go over to Mama Turtle, which is slightly faster than what Diddy had to do, which is go around to the other door. So nice little RBO knowledge there from Beeps, knowing that he could freeze that fish there in order to get the E-Tank easier. As well as getting the fancy wall jump over to the E-Tank. Ooh, Diddy takes a Namahe Flame right as he tries to enter the lava dive, so he's just gonna drain the rest of his health and try again.
Yeah, I find with the lava dive, it's best to have to be as consistent as possible with the trick, because any sort of minor mistake and will just lead to another death.
Yeah, it's one of the in the category GT Classic, which I believe we'll be seeing next week. It's one of the tricks that kind of gates the category, that and the green gate glitch. And in this case, it's even harder because you don't get a suit. So you are instead forced to go through it, draining your health even faster.
Beeps is making a considerable amount of ground. Since Diddy Kong has been having a little bit of difficulties crossing the lava dive room.
Yeah, he's not getting the quick entry that he's trying to get, unfortunately. I think at this point he just needs to go for the rollout entry, though. Although now he gets the quick entry, so you see how much faster that is and why he was going for it. Now he's just got to wall jump from the Namahe Flame to this little ledge, up to the door, and he has made it.
Nicely done, and taking that safety save.
No surprises there. You see Beeps turning off the speed booster in order to make the entry into the lava dive a bit easier. It may seem counterproductive or counterintuitive to turn off speed booster, but it actually makes the setup to get into the lava dive, that fast strat that you saw Diddy do, a lot easier. What you do is just bonk on that little ledge and then jump like that. And so Beeps looks like he'll get it first try. And we'll see if he can finish out the lava dive. And this looks good.
Nice, first
Very
try.
Nice.
And Diddy Kong getting the green gate glitch. Second try.
Yeah, we saw him do that crystal flash in order to replenish his health there. How you do that? I think he did, right?
Yeah, he did.
All right, so how you do that is you lay a power bomb and then hold a specific set of inputs, that is left trigger, right trigger, down, and whatever button you have set to shoot in order to execute the crystal flash. We're going to see Beeps do it here, and that will drain 10 of each ammo plus the power bomb you need to initiate it, so 11 power bombs, and it will refill your health and reserves entirely. And you see Diddy, now that he's got that screw attack, won't need to go fight GT Classic because he already has 30 supers, so he's just going to do a fairly tricky jump out of the room. You need to line yourself up in a specific spot because of how Speed Booster interacts with high jump. You don't actually get a higher jump the longer you run. There's actually some dips in the graph in terms of how high you go versus how long you run. So you need to run a specific length, which there's a nice little line next to the door you can line yourself up on, but it's still fairly tricky. Also, shoutouts to both runners getting the green gate glitch fairly quickly. I didn't even have time to mention it because neither one lost too much time on it.
Another extended high five there.
Yeah, we've got the sync. Unfortunately, while Diddy makes his way out of the room, Beeps does not.
Yeah, Beefs ran for a little too long. And so his jump was a little lower than he really wanted it to be. There we go.
It looks like he refilled his supers before he did the green gate glitch, though, so he doesn't have to spend as much time farming and then going back down for the refill. So that's a nice little time save for him, and he's actually very close to Diddy. What was a several-minute lead for Diddy is now just 30 seconds, and that is very volatile going through Lower Norfair. The lead can change at basically any moment. Oh, that was very close for Diddy. Almost landed on the pirates there, which would have done 200 damage and very likely would have killed him. Although I think his reserves might have been enough to make it across. Either way, he's going to go to this nice room, the Fire Flea room, which luckily is not heated, so the runners get a nice little sigh of relief there for basically the last time in the Lower Norfair section. At least until Ridley's down. As he picks up his 10th E-Tank of the run, the Firefly E-Tank. And so Beeps is only about 20-ish seconds behind, and both runners have a very similar loadout. Both will be fighting Ridley with 30 supers and 10 E-Tanks plus 1 reserve, so there is some room for error in both cases. I imagine we see both of our runners take this safety save here on their way down to Ridley. Diddy still has Ice Beam turned off, so I guess that does mean he is in fact going for X Factors on Ridley. Each X Factor particle will do 300, each Super Missile does 600, so a full X Factor will save about 2 supers on Ridley. Plus, using the X Factor allows you to open the fight with the 2 supers worth of damage right away. So it does save a little bit of time, but it is fairly difficult to execute without accidentally hitting Ridley.
Yeah, I wonder if that's like a bit of a safety thing. You could, like, in case he misses a super missile, so it gives him that little extra bit of, you know, leeway.
So, like I said, speaking from personal experience, I have not done RBO, but I have done a lot of randomizer runs with 30 super Ridleys, and generally what I tend to do is just fire off 6 missiles at the start of the fight, and then use supers, which gives you each missile does 100 damage. So the 6 supers is 6 missiles is equal to 1 super. I don't know how to speak anymore, apparently. But that will give you an extra super at the end. Unfortunately, both of our runners taking a death on their way down to Ridley. Since Beeps died earlier, looks like he's in a slight lead now.
Yeah, this is a very close race. It'll come down to the Ridley fight and the Lower Norfair escape. And then from there, it's up to the runner to, you know, maintain that lead.
Yeah, it's definitely tricky, but the runners are very good. Both runners are fairly experienced at this category. You saw both runners popping their reserves before making their way to Ridley. This is because they are planning on doing another Crystal Flash right before Ridley, and so they will get their reserves filled by that. So just having the extra health to make their way to Ridley is nice. Or at least to Ridley's door. They'll be doing some farming in this room because there are a lot of farming spots here. Beeps needs to be careful, make sure he gets enough energy. That got a bit hairy there.
Oh man, I'm getting kind of nervous for Beeps.
Does Beeps only have 15 power bombs? No, he just got health bombed.
Both our runners getting ready to do the Crystal Flash. I think Beeps is trying to get a little bit of a buffer room to start the Crystal Flash without dying.
Yeah, you saw Diddy Crystal Flashing where you generally want to in RBO, right before the door. Then going back to farm his supers up to full. Like I said, you want 30 supers for a clean fight. And so that is what he is farming for. As well, as long as he gets double health drops from the bugs, he will always be gaining health from this farm. So once he's finished with farming supers, he can actually farm back up to full if he wanted to. Looks like he's confident with about 7 fully tanks in a reserve, which is pretty standard for a safe Ridley fight. He's going to go for the X Factor opening. It's all going to connect, so he just needs 28 supers. He can take a hit from Ridley, which he does there. Hopefully he doesn't take any more. Oh no.
Taking those fireballs.
He might still be okay. Oh, that grab is the end, unfortunately.
Yeah, so he's going to take his death and, get back into it. Meanwhile, Beeps is still farming,
Yeah, he's still farming in this one spot.
Yeah, this is the one situation where I do not like to be in.
Oh no.
Oh, and
he accidentally moved slightly to the left trying to do the Crystal Flash, and so the powerbomb knocked him off into the acid. And so all of that farming is basically all for naught now.
But both the runners are still fairly close to each other. No one has managed to take down Ridley yet. Diddy Kong taking some unlucky hits and taking that grab at the end of that Ridley fight, so it can still go either way.
Yeah, and you see why Ridley is potentially the most dangerous part of the run. He's very random, and each hit will do a massive amount of damage. And that's not even counting the fact that you are on a time limit just because your health is constantly draining throughout the fight. So you have to finish it off quickly and very cleanly, or you just will die. Which is why you see the runners doing the safety strats to pick up 30 supers, because they want to be able to finish off Ridley as cleanly as possible, and the best way to do that is just having enough ammo. Ooh, Beeps, does he get back to the... No.
Oh, that's very unfortunate.
Yeah, he started the Crystal Flash, but an enemy actually hit him out of the way, and unfortunately he didn't quite get back to the correct pixel.
Yeah, it was kind of sneaky of that enemy, because it was off screen when Beeps was trying to initiate the Crystal Flash, and it just rolled up and then knocked Beeps out of the way.
Alright, Diddy entering with one more point of energy than he had last time. We'll see if that makes the difference. Oh, he takes a hit from Ridley right at the beginning. So that definitely makes things interesting. We'll see if he can execute, though. Already missed his 2 supers, but if he hits... Oh dear. Needs about 12 missiles to finish off the fight, I think. I think he missed 4, and unfortunately he's not going to get the chance because Ridley's going to grab him.
So I might say Diddy Kong's in the lead since he has more Ridley attempts. But you know, it can't really mean too much if Beeps does Ridley in one try.
Yeah, Beeps hasn't actually been able to attempt Ridley yet, so he's still working on that. But if he can get it first try, then he will be at a massive advantage for sure.
Okay, got a good Crystal Flash going. Now, if Beeps wants to farm up to 30 super missiles, or his maximum, to make his Ridley fight as easy as possible.
One thing to note is that Beeps hasn't opened the door to Ridley yet, which will cost him a super. So we'll see if he just enters with 29 or he goes back and refills again. Looks like he's just going to enter with 29. Has a lot of energy, but will need to do extra damage. Looks like he's also going to go for the X Factor, so now he just has 1 super of leeway. Doesn't take a hit at the beginning of the fight. Ridley is really trolling him, though. Just flies up in the air, and then once he comes down, hits him with his tail. And this not looking too good for Peeps. He takes a dip in the acid and just chooses to reset. So one thing to note about Ridley is his tail RNG is actually separate from his body RNG, so even when he's not doing any attack patterns, his tail can still troll you like that.
Yeah, I think Ridley's tail has a different AI assigned to it, so it quite literally has a mind of its own.
And so Diddy has taken the lead once again. The lead meaning that he is closer to Ridley, but we can't really say how much that means yet.
And Beeps looks like he was getting trolled by the metal pirates. And Diddy Kong farming up again to get another attempt in on Ridley. Come on, Diddy Kong, you can do it. Getting that extra farm in before the fight.
I think he might have lost health going for that bug, but that's okay. Gonna land the X Factor again. Not gonna take a hit this time. Gonna immediately get trolled by the tail. But now Ridley's in a nice pogo pattern. And this is what you want in an RBO fight, because you can just pump in supers very quickly. Standing on that safe spot on the left edge. I don't know if Diddy Kong can...
Oh, really is not playing nice.
And this is just the scary part of RBO, really. Ridley is already very difficult, and having basically 1 hit of leeway is not easy. Especially with all the pressure of having your health constantly being drained. It definitely adds a mental edge to the fight.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, you know, the fact that your health is drained the entire time, you know, it makes it very, very intense. And little more difficult to concentrate on the fight itself.
And if we want to give some praise to the top runners, just to clarify how good the top RBO run is, the world record runner, Shiny Zenny, his record is, I believe, a 57:30. So he would have been done for over 10 minutes by now. So just showing how optimized this category can be and how dangerous it is as well.
Yeah, it's very impressive, especially for RBO, because it's just like such a wild category, really. Lots of RNG is involved. Not to mention the casting too.
I kind of talked about it a bit, where Zenny really optimized the category a lot, going fast in a lot of rooms instead of just surviving through Lower Norfair. Really impressive stuff for sure. And now we see yet another extended high five. Both runners maybe lamenting their troubles, complaining to each other about how Ridley is dumb and all that. Diddy's going to be starting up Ridley again. Diddy's had a lot more success getting to Ridley consistently, but this time it's going to be real rough because he doesn't land all the X-Factor particles right away. Luckily, they do fly into Ridley eventually, but while those X-Factor particles are flying around, Diddy can't fire a shot. So he just has to wait for them to connect or disappear. He's getting a really nice pogo pattern now. If he can manipulate Ridley to turn around, which he does, this looks good as long as he can finish off the fight and get a clean grab. Just needs Ridley to pick him up without trolling him, and that might be good.
I think he might
have enough health to get to the drops. I think he does. Yeah, he's okay. He's okay.
Very nice.
There's an E-Tank right behind Ridley, so he can refill his health real quick. Beep's also getting the Ridley fight. I think that was second try for him. And we've got a race.
Yeah, both runners defeating Ridley at almost the same time.
They aren't out of the clear yet, though. Remember, they have to make it all the way back to the Firefly room. Every other room besides the save room is heated. So they do need to survive all the way up there. And that is not free in any sense of the word. So what you're going to see Diddy do is he's going to farm up enough supers in order to Crystal Flash, because he's going to do a third Crystal Flash on his way up to the Firefly room, most likely. Actually, I think with this energy, what runners usually do is do the Crystal Flash during the last hell run to get out. But either way, he wants enough ammo to Crystal Flash, and he's not really going to get another chance to get it besides now. So now it's all just about avoiding the enemies, which will all basically one-shot him. They will do 200 damage, and that is literally a third of his health, which is constantly being drained. And these spikes are no slouch either. The spike platforms will also do 200, while the spikes themselves will do 60, which is survivable, but barely. Luckily, he does have the screw attack, which is very good. Unfortunately, he does take a hit. He is going to have to do a Crystal Flash early, but it's okay. He's actually just going to take it real safe and just do the Crystal Flash right here, where no enemies are. Your health needs to be below 50, and your reserves need to be empty, so he needs to wait a little bit, but it's okay. And now he just needs to make sure he doesn't get hit by these enemies. Takes another hit, but he should be okay. Luckily, the hell runs out of Lower Norfair are much shorter than the total hell run from Ridley to Firefly, so having maybe not optimal energy is okay. In addition, the Fireflies, while they will basically drop power bombs all of the time, once you're full on power bombs, they will drop big health. So that is a nice spot to farm health if you are uncomfortable. Beeps, on the other hand, doesn't take the hits from the Disgigas and is able to get through without popping his reserves. I almost spoke too soon. He almost got hit by that Key Hunter. But that is actually an advantage for him. He still has the Crystal Flash ammo, while Diddy is gonna have to farm the Fire Fleas for health. And he has a lot of power bombs. Remember, he picked up 35, so he is not gonna have full health for a long time. He's not even going to go for it, actually. He's just going to go for these hell runs. He did take a save, but doing these hell runs with just 6 tanks and a reserve is very scary. Beep's going to take some intentional Fune shots, and he's going to do the Crystal Flash off of the health that he lost from the Fune. And so he's going to be much more comfortable with these hell runs. You can see he has his full 11 E-tanks, while Diddy only had the 6. And looks like Diddy's okay, though. He should be able to make it out with the 170 health he has remaining, plus the 100 in reserve. It's going to be fairly tight, though. He really doesn't want to take a hit from the Viola, because that could really screw him up. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Oh, man, that's unfortunate.
And with that, Beeps takes a pretty sizable lead. He has made his way out of Lower Norfair, while Diddy is all the way back. He has killed Ridley, but he is still all the way back at the bottom of Lower Norfair, and that is a really good situation for Beeps, who is going to be on his way to Meridia. He's just going to take this moment to farm up his ammo on these little bugs in the... What is this room called? Do you know?
Well, I have no idea. I'm not too familiar with all the room names.
It's it's something. It's the Post-Frog Speedway farm. I don't know. Regardless, he used that nice little spot to farm up his super missiles and uses the Frog Speedway. All of the frogs in the... all of the frogs in their titular speedway will be... They have a 100% power bomb drop, or at least 100 out of 102, like the Fire Fleas do. So he can use that to farm up his power bombs. And so he is going to be nice on ammo. He doesn't really need the health because there is an E-tank after Batoon he can take, and the fight itself isn't too dangerous. And so Beeps is looking... He's sitting pretty right now. Well, Diddy looks like he took another death on his way out of Lower Norfair, and he's going to lose a good amount of time here if he can't get this fairly quickly.
Diddy taking a couple red Key Hunter hits, having to reset again.
Seeing chat look at Moondance in a double Norfair RBO route, that seems really bad, because if you're doing Moondance, you're already clearing out most of Brinstar, so doing a double Norfair route is pretty silly. You'd basically be leaving just to pick up the Waterway E-Tank and potentially Meridia, which if you're doing all that, then you aren't really good enough to be doing a world record route anyways. Ooh, Beep's not quite... He got the fish in the right position and was gaining the health, or gaining the height, I should say, but unfortunately didn't quite make it up to the ledge before the fish froze. You can actually freeze the fish on the other side and wall jump up to on top of the fish, but it looks like Beeps isn't quite as comfortable with that setup, so he's just going for the left side setup. He gets it this time, and now he is back to business. On to Meridia for the second time. This time he's going to be going all the way. While Diddy has a bit better health, exiting the last room of Lower Norfair, the Three Musketeers room. Once again, just needs to make sure he doesn't take a hit from the Viola. I imagine now that it's happened once, he'll be extra careful, so he should be okay. Oh no. Luckily, actually, a really important thing happened there. That Viola hit didn't kill him. If it had killed him, it would have procced his reserves, and then he would have taken a hit from it again because his iframes would have ran out while the reserves were ticking down. And so he would have taken a second hit from the Viola, which would have basically gave him 25 health in total from the reserves. But because it didn't quite kill him, he got his full heal from the reserve, and that gave him enough to get out. So really close margin for Diddy, but he is finally out of Norfair. Just going to take this last little farming spot. He even took a save just in case the worst happened and he died here, which is not going to happen. He's just going to farm up his health and super missiles here, and he is going to be headed to Meridia once he gets his farm. He's not having good luck with the bomb farm. You can actually bomb all of the bugs here, but it looks like he was bombing too late, so some of them were spreading. He's not careful. He can actually die. His rhythm is off. He was taking a lot of hit from the bugs and dropped down to close to 10 HP. He's going to be okay, though. You see Beeps doing another... Whoops. Okay, in a second. Beeps doing another grapple jump here. This one's actually fairly tricky because you have to jump around this little ledge, this little hang here. But Beeps does it. Once again, as long as you have upward momentum, morphing and a normal morphing will reset your jump, allowing you to jump again in midair. This works in or out of water, but it is easier out of water because you accelerate, or rather you decelerate in the air slower, so you're able to keep your upward momentum longer. And so with that, you can just continuously jump up to the top of this room. There's another way to climb the room using the snails. Their RNG is to stop moving when you look at them. So by using that, you can actually use them to climb the pillars there. But the grapple jump is fairly, or it's, I think, a good amount faster as long as you can get it first try. Beeps took 2 hits from that Metroid there. All the enemies in Meridia also do a good amount of damage to a just power suit Samus. Not quite as much as Lower Norfair, but still a solid amount of damage. And so he's going to be taking this fight extra safe. Just going to stand in this corner where Batoon can't run into him. Batoon's only way to hit Samus here is Spit Acid, which you saw he did there. But once he takes enough damage, he won't do any more acid cycles. And so Beeps should be safe from here, and the fight is done. And like I said, there is another E-Tank that he's going to pick up right after Batoon. So he will be full health on his way to Dragon.
I was almost wondering where Diddy Kong was going, but he went to go take the Slaughter's refill. So I thought it was a nice touch. Like, that's something I would not have thought about.
Yeah, once again, it's just RBO knowledge, knowing where you can gain health. Maybe even rando knowledge. I know Diddy's a very good rando runner, so might have thought of that from there. Beep's getting a little bit trolled by these Metroids, but he'll make it up this room. Once he gets out of the water, he can wall jump the rest of the way up. This room's fairly tricky. If you get stuck in the sand, there are spikes at the bottom of the sand, which will prevent you from jumping out normally. What you need to do if you get trapped is you need to crouch, which will allow you to jump a few pixels higher, or rather, it starts your jump a few pixels higher, which will allow you to get out of the spikes. But a lot of people don't know that, so if they think if you get in the spikes, it is certain death. And it is very tricky to get out, so for most people, it is just certain death. Luckily, Beeps avoids getting stuck in the sand, does land in the sand once, but is able to jump out very quickly, and he takes the save before Dragon, which makes sense. Exiting Dragon is very tricky, and we'll see if Beeps can perform it first try or not. Okay, so what we're gonna see Beeps do, I imagine, is he's going to kill this last turret. And then... wait, maybe not. Okay, he's gonna grapple onto the dead turret, which will constantly drain his HP. He wants to get his HP down to below 50, so he can do another Crystal Flash. And like I said, if his Crystal Flash gets interrupted by Dragon, it will give him a Flash Suit, which is similar to what you have when you initiate a Shine Spark, the flashing suit, but it will last forever until he initiates the spark. And so what he'll do from then is turn that Flash Suit into Blue Suit, which is similar, but it constantly gives you speed echoes, which allows you to allows you to execute a Shine Spark whenever you want, but will not be executed, or it's harder to execute it accidentally. Let me start over. Okay, so Blue Suit, it gives you speed echoes, and if you crouch with speed echoes, you initiate a Flash Suit temporarily. The Flash Suit lasts forever, but it is harder to exit this room without accidentally using the Flash Suit, so you want to turn it into a Blue Suit. I didn't see if Beeps got the Flash Suit. I don't think he did. I don't think he had enough super missiles, actually. Or maybe he did.
It looks like he did. I saw the Crystal Flash happen, but
Does
I
he
don't
have...
see the...
Yeah, he doesn't have a Blue Suit. You would see the echoes of Samus while he was moving around, so I'm worried that he might not have it. And doing the grapple jump out of this room is very difficult with a spike suit because the initiating a jump without holding an angle button will just cause you to spark, which will effectively soft lock you because you won't be able to spark out of the next room.
I recently saw a tutorial. Wait, what? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, that was weird. But I recently saw a tutorial by Matrick, and he was explaining how it is possible to get out of the Dragon room with the Flash Suit. And what you would have to do is hold down before you jump, and that will prevent Samus from doing the spark. But it might be from the crouch position, but I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, you need to either hold down or hold angle down, which either way adds another input, which can be fairly tricky if you aren't used to it. And so what happened to Beeps there is he actually turned his Flash Suit into a Blue Suit, but didn't get the quick grapple kill, and then Dragon hit him, meaning he couldn't kill Dragon anymore with the grapple beam. So he just decided to reset and try again. I think. Or maybe he just didn't get the Blue Suit. Looking at chat, that seems to be what happened. I'm not totally knowledgeable on how all this works. I just know it works.
But in the meantime, Diddy Kong is covering ground.
Yeah, Diddy Kong is once again catching up to Beeps. Both runners have been kind of catching up to each other the whole run, and it looks like it's going to be a fairly close finish if Diddy can get a nice Dragon kill quickly. Ooh, gets stuck in the spikes. We'll see if he can get out. Looks like he does. Very nice from Diddy. That is, like I said, very tricky, and not everyone knows about it. So the fact that he was able to get out so quickly once again shows his knowledge of Suitless Meridia and RBO in general. I assume Beeps got the Flash Suit again. Now he's just going to go for the the blue suit as well as the quick grapple kill. He's just going to get grabbed real quick to give Dragon a better pattern. He wants to go on this side because the other side is fairly difficult to get the quick grapple kill on. And Diddy's right behind him. He's made it to Dragon, and he's done his safety save. Alright, now Beeps is getting the goop cycle on the side that he wants. Gets grabbed, executes the suit, and gets the quick grapple kill while Dragon is lowering you to the middle of the room. You can get a grapple kill. You see he has those echoes, meaning that he has the blue suit. That will, like I said, give him speed echoes as long as he doesn't start running.
That was very nicely done by Beeps. It was a sequence of techniques all in one go to kill Dragon and get
It's not over yet, though. He still needs to get the grapple jump out of Dragon, which is a bit trickier than the others because you only have a limited amount of attempts on it. Looks like Diddy accidentally triggered his shine, or triggered his crystal flash. I can't speak English anymore. Please help. But accidentally did that on a non-goop cycle, so he couldn't get grabbed out of it, and then just got tail whipped and died. Which honestly might be the best case because it allows him to try again very quickly. Beeps is not quite getting this grapple jump far enough to the left, and I don't know if he has enough health for this last one.
Yeah, even though Beeps got the grapple jump, he hit his head on the ceiling, so didn't quite make it to the door, so he has to restart the Dragon fight. So that puts Diddy in a little bit of a lead right now.
Yeah, Diddy's in the lead for now, but we'll see how long it lasts. Dragon is another fairly tricky part that we kind of glossed over. So we'll see if Diddy can do this, if he can execute this time. We'll see if Beeps can execute again and make it out this time. Okay, now Dragon's doing a goose cycle. Diddy gets grabbed in the crystal flash, which gives him the spike suit. Now he just wants to wait for Dragon to do a goo cycle and turn that flash suit into a blue suit. Doesn't look like he did it. So he just wants to get out of Dragon's grab as soon as possible in order to try again. It looks like, unlike Beeps, Diddy's not going for the quick grab or the quick grapple kill. He just wants to execute the spike suit or the blue suit safely. Unfortunately, he's not quite getting the input.
I think one of the trickier parts to getting the blue suit is the goops. They do a knockback on Samus, so it makes it tricky to execute the jump input.
He got it this time, but now he just has to hope Dragon doesn't hit him too many times on his way to the grapple, or to the turrets to grapple onto. He's already taken 3 hits. Each hit does a lot of damage. And the grapple beam will also take a few tanks of damage. So he's not going to have as many tries at the grapple jump as Beeps had the first time. So we'll see if he can execute it. He does have the blue suit, though.
And Diddy Kong does have enough for a crystal flash, so he can have another set of attempts in case he doesn't get it quickly.
That is true. That is a nice little thing that Diddy has. If he isn't able to get it first try, or first couple tries. Does Crystal Flash affect your blue suit at all? I don't remember. I don't think it does.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Diddy looks like he's going to get the grapple jump first try. Very nice. Now, as long as he lines up the spark properly, as long as he lines up with that block right there, and he is going to make it out.
Very nice.
And I He's going to go up and save and take the health refill behind the save as well. And that puts him in the lead again. Oh, getting a little bit trolled there. Yeah, now he has the space jump, so crossing this room is very easy. You can just space jump above the water. Beep's now getting that blue suit and the quick grapple kill again. He doesn't have enough to Crystal Flash this time, or at all. But he will have a little bit more health than last time, as long as Dragon's drops don't troll him. I'm surprised he didn't take those last two big health drops, but he's confident.
Come on, Beeps, you can do it. I believe. Oh, barely enough space. We can't pass that ledge. And getting out of the precious room. So they're both managed to get past Dragon. So now it's Beeps has a bit of ground to cover to catch up to Diddy. It could come down to the fan tune patterns, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, we're out of the heated rooms and out of the water very quickly once the runners get plasma, so it will come down to execution. I do think Beeps is slightly favored in terms of execution over Diddy, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. He is pretty significantly behind, close to a minute, I believe, and we'll see if he's able to catch up by the time the runners reach the end of the game. And Diddy about to pick up his plasma beam, and he will be taking the Forgotten Highway from Meridia to Wrecked Ship. It is only faster in this exact situation when you don't have a suit but have space jump. If neither of those are true, then it is just faster to go down through the tube, the aqueduct. But since it is true, it is faster to go Forgotten Highway. Yeah, Beep's actually already making up some time, having a cleaner movement from Dragon to Plasma. We get a little high five there as Beep's entering the Plasma room as Diddy exits. Still anyone's race. This can, there's a lot of game left to play.
You know, I think overall this was a pretty tough race. I think it, you know, after dying several times in Norfair and Lower Norfair, and a couple of resets at Dragon, I'm still glad that our runners managed to get past all of it and stick to it.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how it's worked out so far. All of the runners' mistakes have basically canceled out, and they're just a minute apart from each other. With Beeps looking to catch up. And like I said, he has the better execution, so it's definitely not out of the question. Just needs to get through this little gap. I'll make it eventually. Don't worry.
Oh, there we go.
That's the superior execution at work there. That's what I wanted to say. So this Fantoon fight is a nice 2-round with Plasma Beam. You can just shoot 4 missiles and a fully decked out Charge Ice Wave Plasma shot. That shot will do 900. Each missile will do 100. Fantoon has 2,500 health, so 2 rounds of that will do 2,600 damage. You can actually afford to not shoot a missile and still defeat Fantoon with a really easy 2-round. Diddy getting it fast to open the fight. Gets his missiles in. Looks like it's going to be a mid-second round. And very nice Fantoon for Diddy.
That was some good RNG, fast mid. We'll see what Beeps gets. I see a high five through the door.
Yep. Now time for the real hardest part of the run here. Will Diddy remember to go down to Kraid? It has costed runners in the past. Looks like Beep's also going to get a fast first round Fantoon. Looks like he's also going to get a mid-second round, so... Nope,
Oh.
it's going to be a slow. That's a nice extra 6 seconds for Diddy. And Beeps doesn't hit the pattern, so he's going to wait for a reappear. Looks like it's a mid-reappear, so I don't know exactly how long that is. Either way, not too bad of a fight for Beeps. And Diddy is going down. He does remember Kraid.
Yeah, so I think the Fantoon fight for Beeps set him back a little bit. I'll get some an unfortunate slow pattern and getting the reappear. So Beeps has a lot of ground to cover if he wants a chance to beat Diddy in this RBO race. I think you'll need a really good movement and potentially baby skip.
Yeah, it's still not decided yet. Diddy is certainly favored, but it's not over. And I don't know if the runners are watching the restream, but if they are definitely, or if they aren't, they're definitely going to be surprised with how close this race is so late. Yeah, I guess Diddy has just had a lot of close races this tournament, hasn't he?
That was a clean Kraid quick kill.
Yep, not going to be picking up Various Suit. It isn't needed with all the E-tanks he has. It's just a safety. And looks like we are going to see another high five on our somewhere in Kraid's lair. Right here in this little pocket. We'll see if Beeps can catch up. It requires a lot to happen. I think at this point, he basically needs Diddy to miss the baby skip, and he needs to hit it. Well, we'll see what happens.
Oh, Beeps missing the great quick kill, being that stand-up glitch, so it sets him further behind.
Luckily, as long as you hit Kraid once, you can finish off the fight with just a charged plasma shot. Where's Diddy going? Is this faster? I don't think it is.
Yeah, I don't think so. Although I think in my first RBO run, I went through the Green Hills to get to Torian. But either way works, but I think the top route is a bit faster.
I'm being told by chat that it is very close. I'll believe it. There's actually a pretty fast strat you can use to get up this room. Is this Business Center? Is Business Center in Norfair?
I think it's. Well, I don't even know. I would say Norfair, but again, I'm not very good at room names.
Yeah, I should be. I did a lot of rando commentary, but I guess we all have our flaws. Looks like Beeps is also going that way, so you know, must be good.
Alright, Beeps. Diddy Kong entering the waiting room at 1 hour and 47 minutes. Let's see how long it takes Beeps to get there. Trying to get a good idea of, how much time that Beeps has. Or actually, Beeps is going through the Green Hills zone as well to get to Torian.
Yeah. But what you can actually do is you can avoid pressing run in certain spots in order to actually save your speed echoes until you cross that bridge above the Decora and then speed through the bomb blocks. It's a bit tight, but it's a really cool strat. I think Azure showed me it in a all bosses run. Because in all bosses, assuming you're doing Spore Spawn last, you actually have to go this way. It's significantly faster.
I think I saw that demonstrated in, I think, Fruit Bat Salad's run. I think he did the... Oh, wait, by the way, Beeps entered Torian or the waiting room at 1 hour, 48 minutes, and about 30 seconds. So he's a minute 30 behind.
I think it's close to about a minute 20, but either way, Diddy has actually gained time through better boss fights and maybe better movement. I haven't really been able to tell. It's hard to say. But it was about 55 seconds entering Rex ship, and now it's 30 seconds bigger entering Turian. I think Beep's best shot is Diddy getting hit by a catch-up. Even if he saves, because the catch-up will do extra damage because of Novaria. and no gravity. So if it double hits, it can do massive damage.
You still have baby skip and the stand-up glitch. Oh, Diddy Kong getting grabbed on that second jump.
Yeah, Diddy not getting the baby skip.
So it's a good possibility that Beeps could catch up if he manages to get the baby skip.
Beeps isn't getting great super drops from the Metroids, though. We'll see if he gets better in this last room. Entering with 30 and 9. It's enough ammo, but it's not ideal. Looks like he thought about it, but he is gonna go for the baby skip after all. Diddy is gonna take a save. Just in case. Well, this baby skip is really sketchy from Beeps. Yeah, the baby was too far to the right. He couldn't really dodge around it because there was a little enemy in the way and a little ledge on the other side. So he just kind of got screwed there. It happens. Diddy gets a super sniped by the turret and another by the Rinka. But he's got enough ammo, it's alright.
So if Diddy Kong wants to seal the win, you have to play this Mother Brain 2 and 3 very carefully. And Beeps not going for the save.
Beeps knows his only out is just going as fast as possible. Like the save, if he dies, it's over anyways. Most likely. So he's just going all out. Who did he barely dodging that catch up?
That was too close.
And he has good health for the stand-up glitch. You need to have between 700 and 799 in order to stand up after the first rainbow beam. Without a suit, you can just get here, take one hit from Mother Brain. Or I thought you had to take one hit with this health. Maybe not with no suit. Either way.
I thought so too.
Must be different without any suit at all. Regardless, Diddy with a very nice stand-up. Now, he just needs to execute. There are a few spots where the game where it is in danger of soft locking. When the Mother Brain and the baby detach, the game will try to force you to the ground. So if you are forced to the ground right next to Mother Brain, it won't be a soft lock, but you will basically die. Because as soon as Mother Brain walks forward, you will just be in her hitbox, and you don't get iframes from Mother Brain, so you will just die. As well, once the baby finishes replenishing Samus's HP, it will lock in place. So it is possible to get the baby stuck in the ceiling or on Mother Brain's knee where she can't shoot it. Luckily, Diddy seems to have avoided all of those. And now it's just making sure he isn't shooting a shot once he gets given the hyper beam. And you see he's going to wait out these little transitions, not going to take any chances. I imagine he's watching the restream and he knows he's ahead. Even going to end the stand-up early just to make sure. Well, it is, I don't want to call it yet, but Diddy is all but won.
Alright, so we got Diddy starting the escape. Meanwhile, Beeps is still performing the stand-up glitch. Will Diddy save the animals?
That is the question of the day, I suppose. Beeps having a bit better stand-up, taking it a lot riskier. Ooh, that was a little bit sketchy, that jump. Unfortunately, unless there's a power outage, I think Diddy's got this. But Beeps had a very solid run. It's going to be less than a minute apart for sure with how aggressively Beeps played the end of Turian and how much it paid off.
Nice Behemoth Spark. And Beeps starting his escape.
And it looks like he is not going to save the animals today.
Making the right choice.
Well, maybe. Either way, he's going to... He can't enter ship with Morph Ball. He is going to finish with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 55 minutes, and 39 seconds. GG to Diddy.
Yep, GG. That was a very tough race.
Yeah, and really impressive showing for Diddy in this tournament so far. That will move him to 2-1, and I believe he was only a couple seconds from winning his week 2 match, so very well could have been 3-0. Obviously would have been playing a different runner had he lost, or had he won last week, but still, had a very nice showing. And you see Beeps, he is maybe the animal saver of the community now that Ponk is not actively running the game. So, of course, he's going to do it. Seems to be a pattern with RBO runners. Saving the animals. And using Blat Split, I guess. I think Ponk still uses that. Either way, Beeps has finished in second with an official time of 1 hour, 56 minutes, and 50 seconds. So an RBO race with several deaths on each side is almost a minute apart. Very impressive race from both runners. We'll see if we can get in. We'll see if we can get them in for some interviews. Looks like they are both getting set up, so we'll get to hear from them shortly.
Let's bring them in. Hey, Beeps and Diddy Kong. Good game on the race.
Thanks. Good game, Diddy Kong.
Yeah, that was a very close race. Like, despite the deaths and the Dragon, it was still a very close race. So, how you feeling about the race? Oh, let's start with you, Beeps.
The thing I hated the most is that stupid wave beam segment. Like, Dragon, whatever, but the stupid wave beam, I shouldn't have died. Like, I lost like 10 minutes on that, so I'm annoyed by that, but I'm still I'm happy it was a close race, but like, still, I'm annoyed that that just killed a run really early on.
Yeah, it was a big disadvantage at the start.
A little bit of salt.
Hey, Diddy Kong, can you hear me? If you're saying something, I can't hear you.
Looks like he is still working on things.
But yeah, that wave beam room in the double chamber, that was like very rough.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, honestly. I think it might have been a curse or something. Or just not. I need to get good.
Yeah, RBO is definitely a very unforgiving category to run. Let's see if Diddy Kong has his microphone set up. Hey, Diddy Kong.
Hey,
Oh,
GG.
GG, Diddy.
Yeah, you did a great run and a great race. So, how are you feeling about the run?
I feel bad about my death just before Bubble Mountain.
Oh, right, yeah, with the Lower North escape, with that Viola
Yeah.
trolling you.
I should have team reserved instead of keep them in.
Yeah, I mean, you did manage to make it out on top, which is, I was almost certain that Beast was going to have it, but you stuck to it and you brought it back, and you won the race. So,
Yeah,
well
I didn't
done.
expect. And I PB'd by about a minute.
Oh, nice.
Very nice. That's faster than my PB.
By the sounds of it sounds like you both kind of got trolled in our own places.
Yeah, there was lots of places where you had extended high fives, and places where you were getting trolled at.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Like as soon as one person got a lead, they would end up getting trolled at the next big section, and the other player would take the lead. It was pretty bizarre to watch.
Yeah, it was very
It was
back
really
and
close
forth.
until the end.
But yeah, do you have anything y'all want to add before we close out the race?
I don't really think I have anything. I've been good game,
Yeah,
and
GG.
RNG was a big jerk in a few places.
All right, well, thank you all for doing the race. It was very, very entertaining to watch. And thank you to Derp for commentating with me. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I hadn't commentated RVO before this, so I had a lot of fun.
Yep, so looks like that's going to be it for us today. I think there's more runs later on, which is starting at 6 o'clock Eastern Time. We have Freya's Spirit versus Lake Demon, and a couple of races at 8 o'clock, Balthazar versus Cashmod, and Cross Product versus Sinan. And a few more, 9 o'clock and 9:30. So definitely stick around if you want to watch more of the Super Metroid multi-category tournament. So yeah, that'll be it for us today. So this is Gala, and with me is TG Derp. So we'll see you all next time.